sponsor LiveWatch right now. Home security made easy. Plug and protect, do-it-yourself wireless technology. Save 40 to 60% from competitor systems. Patented ASAP instant message and fast response make responding to a potential emergency as easy as checking your cell phone and sending a text message to friends and family. No contracts and cancel at any time. The fastest alarm system technology ever created. Take control of your family's security with LiveWatch today. Click the link below. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It is October 1st, 2015. Today's video, you'll learn about what you need to know about Syria and also why President Vladimir Putin of Russia has a really big penis. I'm talking freaking huge. I mean, he's only 5'9". He's relatively short when he's shaking Obama's hands, but his dick is massive, especially when it comes to Syria. It's kind of the equivalent of Obama kind of like, you know, feeling his balls or kind of maybe licking his testicles. I was reading a lot of commentary from the alternative media actually saying that this was Putin's checkmate move to Obama. Now, it's a move, but it's not a checkmate move. This is one of many tactical expressions that Putin has really been kicking the shit out of the United States for years now, in terms of the geopolitical tactics he's using in implementing, playing the mainstream media, using the media here in the States against the West, and basically the propaganda machine that makes up CNN and Fox. You see, Putin is 70 steps ahead of Barack Hussein, insane in the membrane, Obama. And again, this isn't a checkmate move, this is just one move. And Russia, and Vladimir Putin specifically, is winning this intelligence war against the United States. We saw the same thing with, and we see the same thing today with Edward Snowden, for example. Again, Edward Snowden, a double, if not a triple agent, still working for the U.S. in the form of a limited hangout, not really releasing any real information to cover up even more damning truths. That's the definition of a limited hangout. And also working and being housed in Russia and used as a propaganda tool by Putin to basically position the West and the U.S. in a very negative and bad light. You know, it's interesting to me how I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of videos on Syria years ago. In fact, one particularly was, I think, about a year ago. I had long hair, still wearing the same glasses. I look a lot different on camera. I've been doing this for a while. Been talking about this for a while when Syria wasn't even on the map, wasn't even on the radar. And people will comment and say, wow, we're actually at war now in Syria. Isn't that amazing? Not only has Obama already started airstrikes months and months and months ago, we had the fomentation and creation of ISIS and of course that Western-dominated propaganda campaign, but now Vladimir Putin is stepping up airstrikes in this part of the world. Now again, ISIS was fabricated and created, engineered by the West as a reason that they could galvanize public support around why the U.S. needs to intervene in this part of the world to take out Assad. Now Putin is using that same propaganda, saying he's striking ISIL, ISIS, the Islamic State, when really he's just hitting strategic military sites. He's actually also striking the moderate terrorists that the United States is arming. Isn't that an oxymoron? Moderate terrorism. How can you be a moderate terrorist? It really doesn't make sense, does it? It's kind of like having a moderate gunshot wound. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But that's been the argument of people like John McCain, who have been in pictures with some of these radical Islamic extremists. Because again, they've choreographed this thing from the get-go. This is a part of the propaganda war, this intelligence campaign led by the West and our allies like Israel. Total and utter smoke and mirrors campaign. Total bullshit. So now, Vladimir Putin has turned the tables on Obama and the West and CNN and Fox, and now is using ISIS as the reason for his own airstrikes, even though that's far from the truth. You see, the intention has always been to destabilize this part of the world, to actually destroy the Levant. It's why we've had a more radical group fostered by the United States through arming and funding these moderate terrorists. This has been a part of the West's agenda. This is extremely dangerous, folks. It really is World War III. This is the flashpoint that catalyzes the next major event because the U.S. and Russia aren't speaking to each other. You know, they met at the UN. Putin shook Obama's hand, met at the UN. They didn't really speak a whole lot. But the chance of some kind of escalation or even an accident or intentional event has only increased in Syria. In this part of the world, we have the USA and Putin and Russia both running military operations at the same time. And guess what? We're enemies, folks. We're not working together. We're not sharing information. And now Putin has basically turned the tables on the United States and is cleverly, because again, he's always 70 steps ahead of Barack Obama, has now turned the page and turned the table on ISIS against the United States. And they've been caught with their pants down. Obama doesn't know what to do. I mean, supposedly we're there fighting ISIS. So what can the mainstream media say when Putin says he's also there to fight ISIS? But he's really there to support Assad. Because it's America's social experimentations, these revolutions that the U.S. creates in places like Egypt or Iraq through Operation Iraqi Freedom or Afghanistan or now in Syria. The West is responsible for all this terror, responsible for the migrant crisis, for millions of people fleeing their homes, for over 250,000 civilians dead in Syria. My God, look at all the bloodshed. Putin is responding to these tactics and covert intelligence operations by the West. The same thing in Ukraine. The only reason there was the annexation, even though it really wasn't an annexation, they voted to join Russia. The only reason Putin had to respond is because of Western meddling, because of the United States' intentions behind the scenes through covert operations to overthrow these governments for various reasons, some of them economic, to stop gas pipelines. I've talked about this ad nauseum, to basically seek and destroy natural resources in the Middle East, black gold, blood money, oil. All of this plays into the political and economic hand that makes up the agenda here in the Western and with Western nations and the United States. It's extremely dangerous. Again, we talked about this years ago, folks, when Syria wasn't even on the radar. Remember when Obama promised us that he was going to withdraw troops in the Middle East? Look at what a laughingstock that is now. He's actually escalated the wars in this part of the world. We've been outright airstriking and attacking, dropping bombs on villages and school children for a long time now. I believe it's been over a better part of a year, if not longer. Correct me if I'm wrong. And now we have the increased likelihood of some kind of conflagration. We have to think about how does an inept Western U.S. government respond to this move that Putin just made. What some people are calling a checkmate, but I really think it's just a tactical move. You see, a checkmate would be Obama's head on a pike. That would be a checkmate, and we're not there yet. I think that the United States is going to respond with some kind of physical response. I think that they need to position either an accident, a Gulf of Tonkin type event, or maybe position a legitimate false flag or event like that to basically catalyze and demonize Putin. You see, they can't allow Putin to play this hand for too much longer because he's only exposing the West for their lies, for their social experimentation, for their overthrow of these rightful independent sovereign governments, for their outright indirect murder and assassination of people like Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. The CIA trafficking guns through Christopher Stevens is what made up Benghazi Gate, which is what made up these criminal acts and crimes that Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, are responsible for, of which she calls a conspiracy theory. That's what she calls it, folks. It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, her husband also, he hasn't raped women. No, he never stuck a cigar up the tramp's vajayjay, Monica Lewinsky. No. All those people are lying, folks. It's a conspiracy. Remember, they're from Arkansas. It's a conspiracy. But she is very pro-women's rights. This is a flashpoint for war. This is what we've been talking about for years now, in dozens and dozens and dozens of videos. It is extremely dangerous. Russia is building up a military presence and has been for several weeks now. They have authorization from the parliament, not just for these airstrikes, but also to send troops. They say they're not going to send them, but really they have every capability and very likely may send troops in the not too distant future. Again, Obama already has U.S. troops on the ground, and they also have troops in the form of arming these moderate terrorists with guns, weapons, and funding, which are the same groups that Putin is now targeting and taking out, using the leverage that he has through this manipulation campaign that makes up Western propaganda, that Assad is evil, that Putin is the next Hitler, that China's economy is collapsing, and that's the reason why they can't raise interest rates. All of this demonization is being done for a reason. Just like we demonized the Japanese during World War II and threw them into internment camps, American Japanese, here in the United States of America, you demonize your enemy before you kill them. But I think the world is actually waking up to the fact that this has just been a propaganda campaign, once again, led by the West. No different from WMDs under the administration of George W. Bush, now just Obama in Syria and in this part of the world. Country after country, toppling Middle Eastern nation after Middle Eastern nation. This is the agenda. It's extremely dangerous. We are at war right now. And folks, God, I fear it. This is the big one. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.